Hi there, players. Welcome back to my channel. And tonight, I'm going to do a comeback of a kind of triggers of ASMR. I'm going to read the Hunger Games novel. Now, I did the reading before, but that was 2 years ago. So this is going to be my first time here. First time using the trigger in this year since I started my channel, and it's going to be a lot different here too. Different that I did read the oh yeah, yes, give me a minute. Series of Unfortunate Events. I was reading the first one, but I quit reading it because I didn't have the whole franchise yet. I don't think I have one. So until I have the whole franchise, I will be reading any books of serious unfortunate events. Alright. And before I get started, I wanted to explain to you what I do in this video. While I'm reading, I'm going to include that head massage and the face tracing. And before I get started with the video, I just want to show you my new portrait, ASMR Destiny. He is the 11th portrait I drew, and it's going to be another one hanging on the wall of ASMR. Right there. Yep, he's going to be right up there. So this is exciting. I'm so excited to hang this up after I finish the video. And once I get... excuse me. I'm so excited. Now, once I get done with the video, I'm going to hang up this post picture right at the second. Alright? Not the second after the video. Alright? So let's begin the Hunger Games. I just need to readjust the video. Okay. Alright, so let's begin. Oh yes. That's the bookmark I use for Vivi, yep. Alright. The top was a little benty, but I have it for a year now. But the only thing special about it is that Wraight gave it to me. Thank you, Vivi. Okay, so tonight I'm going to be reading a chapter of Hunger Games, the first chapter, and I'm going to find out how many pages are there. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 chapters. Alright. Let's all begin. Hunger Games. Part 1. Tributes. Chapter 1. This is a book. It was narrated by Katniss Everdeen, of course. When I wake up, the other side of the bed is cold. My fingers stretch out, seeking Prin's warmth, but finding only a rough canvas cover of the mattress. She must have had bad dreams, climbed and with our mother. Of course, she did. This is the day of the reaping. I propped myself up. I propped myself up on the elbow. On one elbow, there's enough light in the bedroom to see them. My little sister Prim curled up on the other side. On her other side, Coon and my mother's body, their cheeks pressed together. In sleep, my mother looks younger, still warm, but not so beaten down. Prim's face, Prince's face is as fresh as the raindrop, as lovely as the primrose for which she was named. My mother was very beautiful once too, or so they tell me. Sitting at Prince's knees, guarding her, is the world's ugliest cat. Smashed one nose, half of one ear missing, eyes of the color of rotting squash. Prim named her Buttercup, insisting that his muddy yellow cat matched the bright flower. He hates me. He hates me. Or at least distrusts me. Even though it was years ago, I think he still remembers how I tried to drown him in a bucket when Prim brought him home. I didn't think Katniss can be this cruel to her own cat, but she was a child. Squatting kitten, belly swollen with worms, and crawling with fleas. The last thing I needed was another mouth to feed, but Prim begged so hard, cried even. I had to let him stay. It turned out okay. My mother got rid of the vermin, and he's a born mouser. Even catches occasional rat. Sometimes when I clean a kill, I feed Buttercup the entrails. He has stopped hissing at me. Entrails. No hissing. This is a closet. This is a closet we will ever come. This is the closest we will ever come to love. My mistake for pronouncing the word. But it was closet, but not closest. This is the closer we will ever come to love. I swing my leg off the bed and slide into my hunting boots. Supple leather that has molded into my feet. I pulled on a skirt, tucked my long dark braided up into the cap, and grabbed my forage bag. On the table, under a wooden bowl to protect it from hungry rats and cats alike, sits a perfect little goat cheese, wrapped in basil leaves. Ghost cheese. Never tried a ghost cheese before. Prim's gift to me on reaping day. I put the cheese carefully in my pocket as I slip outside. Our part of District 12, nicknamed the Seam, is usually crawling with coal miners heading out to the morning shift at this hour. Men and women with hunched shoulders, swollen knuckles, many who have long since stopped trying to scrub the coal dust out of their broken nails. Can you imagine how much heart? Can you imagine how many times you scratching with your fingers? That's busting your fingers. I really hope they have the nail clipper, but I don't think they have a single one. Alright, where are they? Yes. The lines of their sunken faces. But today, the black cinder streets are empty. Shutters on the squat gray houses were closed. The reaping isn't until 2. Maybe as well sleep in, if you can. Our house is almost at the edge of the scene. I only have to pass a few gates to reach the scruffy field called the meadow, separating the meadow from the woods. In fact, enclosing all of District 12 is a high chain link high chain link fence topped with barbed wires loops. In theory, it's supposed to be electrified 24 hours a day as a deterrent to the predators that live in the woods. Packs of wild dogs, lone cougars, bears that used to threaten our streets. But since we're lucky to get 2 or 3 hours of electricity in the evenings, it's usually safe to touch in dangerous. Even so, I always take a moment to listen carefully for the hum that means the fence is live. Fence is live. Fence is live. Fence is live. Even so, I always take a moment to listen carefully for the hum that means the fence is live. Right now, it's silent as a stone, concealed by clumps of bushes. I flatten out on my belly and slide under the 2 foot stretch. Slide under a 2 foot stretch that's been loosened for years. There are several other weak spots in the fence, but this one is so close to home. I almost always enter the woods here. As soon as I am in the trees, I retrieve a bow and stub of arrows from the hollow log. Electrified or not, the fence has been successfully at keeping the flesh eaters out of District 12. Inside the woods, they roam freely, and they are added concerns like venomous snakes, rabid animals, and no real paths to follow. But there's also food if you know how to find it. My father knew, and he taught me some before he was blown to bits in a mine explosion. Oh, there was nothing even to bury. I was 11 then. 5 years later, I still wake up screaming for him to run. Time for my break. Okay, I may not be promising I will finish the entire chapter, but I will read the first part of the chapter and the second part of the chapter in another video. I'm just gonna let you take a break. When I first do the videos when I read a book, all I do is read a book. Because I saw other ASMRs read a book, and I didn't know what to do next when I want to make another video. But now I know what to do. That it's not just no need to read. I also give you a head massage and a face tracing. And that's what I did when I was streaming on Twitch. It was pretty fun too. It's pretty fun to do that. Made me thinking about making another video with invisible fishbowl. Say something. Oh, still got a plan to say something before when I do that. I'm very confident. Okie doke. Oh wait, okay, yeah. I'm in the third paragraph of the fifth page. All right. Even though press, even though even though trespassing in the woods is illegal and poaching carries a severest of penalties. Severe the penalties. Severe is the is added to severe, and severe is very much worse compared to mild. Even though trespassing in the woods is illegal, and poaching carries the severest of penalties, more people would risk it if they have weapons, but most are not bold enough to venture out with just a knife. Just a knife. That's all they have. Most people do. But bow is a rarity crafted to my father, along with a few others that I keep well hidden in the woods, carefully wrapped in the waterproof covers. My father could have made more good money selling. My father could have made good money selling them, but if the officials found out, he would have publicly executed in inciting a rebellion. Inciting a rebellion. I should look at what inciting is. Most of the peacekeepers turn a blind eye to a few of us which hunt because they're as hungry for fresh meat as anybody is. Hungry, that is. In fact, they're among our best customers. Customers. But the idea that someone might be arming the scene would have been allowed. In the fall, a few brave souls sneak into the woods to harvest apples, but always in sight of the meadow. Always always close enough to run back to the safety of District 12 if trouble arises. District 12, where can we, where District 12, where you can starve to death in safety, I mutter. Then I glance quickly over my shoulder. Even here? Even in the middle of nowhere? You worry someone might overhear you. When I was younger, I scared my mother to death. The things that I would blurt out about District 12, about the people who rule our country, Panam, from the far-off city called the capital. The capital. Eventually, I understood this would only lead us to more trouble. So I learned to hold my tongue and to turn my features into a different masks so that no one could ever read my thoughts. No, do my work quietly in school, make only polite small talk in the public market, discuss little more than trades in the hall, which is the black market where I make most of my money, even at home where I am less pleasant. Even at home where I am less pleasant. You gotta be extra nice even when you're in private. Yeah, it's okay to feel not okay. But don't be judgmental and objective too. I avoid discussing tricky topics like the reaping or food shortages or the Hunger Games. Prim might begin to repeat my words, and then where we, and then where we will be, then where will we be? In the woods, waits the only person with whom I can be myself, Gale. I can feel the muscles in my face relaxing, my pace quickening as I climb the hills to our place, a rock ledge overlooking a valley. A thicket of berry bush protects it from unwanted eyes. The sight of him waiting there brings on a smile. Gale says, I never smile except in the woods. Hey, Catnip, says Gale. My real name is Katniss. But when I first told him, I had barely whispered it, so he thought I said catnip. So he thought I said catnip. Hey, catnip. I gotta read that again. Excuse me. Hey, catnip, says Gale. My real name's Katniss, but when I first told him, I barely whispered it. So he thought I said catnip. Uh, that's what happens when you decided not to make a long, a long public conversation. Then, when this crazy lynx started following me around the woods looking for handouts, it became his official nickname for me. I finally had to kill that lynx because he's scared of game. I almost regretted it, and because he wasn't bad company, but I got a decent price for his pelt. Look what I shot! Get holds up a loaf of bread with an arrow stuck in it, and I laughed. It's a real bakery bread, but the flat, dense loaves we make. Excuse me. Oh, see. It's a real loaf of bread, not the flat, dense loaves. Then loaves with make from our grain rations. I take it in my hands, pull out an arrow, pull out the arrow, and hold a puncture in the crust of my nose. Inhale, inhaling the fragrance that makes my mouth flood with saliva. Mmm. Fine bread like this is a special occasions. Still warm, I say. He must have had He must have been at the bakery at the crack of dawn to trade for it. What did you cost? What did it cost you? Just a squirrel. I think the old man was feeling sentimental this morning, says Gale. Even wish me luck. Well, we all feel a little closer today, don't we? I say, not even bothering to roll my eyes. Prim let us a cheese. I pulled out. His expression brightens at the treat. Thank you, Prim. We'll have a real feast. A real feast. Cheese and bread. Suddenly, he falls into capital accent as he mimics evil trinket, the the maniacally upbeat woman who arrives once a year to read out the names at the reaping. I have almost forgotten. Happy Hunger Games, he plucks. He plucks a few blackberries from the bushes around us, and may the odds, he tosses a berry in a high arc toward me. I catch it in my mouth and break the delicate skin in my teeth. The sweet tartness explodes all across my tongue. Be it ever in your favor. I finish with equal verve. Equal verve. We had to joke about it because the alternative is to be scared out of your wits. Besides, the capital accent is so affected, almost anything sounds funny in it. I watch as Kale pulls out his knife and slices the bread. He could be my brother. Straight black hair, olive skin. We even have the same gray eyes, but we're not related, at least not close. Most of the families who work in the mines resembles one another this way. That's why my mother and Prim, with their light hair, blue eyes, always look out of place. They are my mother's parents. They are my mother's parents. We're a part of the small merchant class that caters to officials, peacekeepers, and the occasional seam customer. They ran They ran an ap, apothecary, carry, apothecary. They ran an apothecary shop in a nicer part of District 12. You have to give me my pronunciation. Apothecary, apothecary or apothecary. I can look it up and find out what it means and how it pronounced. Once almost no one can afford doctors, apothecaries, or healers, apothecaries or our healers. That makes sense. My father got to know my mother because on his hunts he would sometimes collect um, medic- medicinal medicinal herbs and sell them to her shop to be brewed into remedies. She must have really loved him to leave her home for the scene. I try to remember when that all I can see is the woman who is sat by, blank and unreachable, while her children turn to skin and bones. I try to forgive her for my father's sake, but to be honest, I'm not the forgiving type. Uh, once we reach page 10, then I will stop. Gail spreads bread slices with a soft goat cheese, carefully placing basil leaf on each while I strip the bushes of their berries. We settle back in the nook of the rocks. From this place, we are invisible, but we have clear view of the valley, which is teeming with summer life. Greens to gather, roots to dig, fish iridescent, iridescent in the sunlight. The day is glorious, with a blue sky and soft breeze. The fruits wonderful, with the cheese seeping into the warm bread and the berries bursting in our mouths. Mm. Everything would be perfect if this really is a holiday. If all the day off meant was roaming the mountains with Gale, hunting with a two-night supper. But instead, we had to be in standing in the square at 2 o'clock, waiting for the names to be called out. We could do it, you know, Gale says quietly. What? I asked. Leave the district, run off, live in the woods. You and I, we could make it, says Gale. I don't know how to respond. The idea is so preposterous. If we didn't have so many kids, he asked quickly. They're not our kids, of course, but they might as well be. Gail's two little brothers and a sister, Prem, and you may as well throw in our mothers too, because how would they live without us? Who will fill those mouths that are always asking for more? With both of us hunting daily, they are still nice when game has to be strapped. It has to be strapped so large, or shoelaces or wool. Still nice when we go to bed with our stomachs growling. I never wanted to have kids, I say. I might, if I didn't live here, says Gail. But you do, I said, irritated. And that's the end of the first half of the chapter. And I hope you have a good night, rest, and I hope a good day as well. It's a good thing I have so many books. Good thing I have so many books to read, so you guys can hear the rest of the favorite books while you're in for bed in its favorite, most populated category. Now, you have a good night, and I'll see you in the next video.